What is going on, guys? Matt Downs with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports to help give you the edge for this NBA 10-game slate. Cannot wait to break it down. If you guys are brand new to this channel, we provide both free and paid content for all daily fantasy sports across all sports. If you could please show your support by hitting that subscribe button, hitting that notification bell, and of course smashing that like button for all of our future NBA content. If you would like to know more about becoming a better DFS player and taking down that big GPP, head over to www.patreon.com/dgfantasy for more information. If you guys would like to be entered into our $25 giveaway that we do every single Friday on stream, please like, subscribe, and also comment your favorite overall play on this slate. On Patreon, we give advanced cheat sheets for all DFS sports on Draftkings. These cheat sheets include updated projections, ownership, and our overall favorite plays from slate to slate. We take it a step further by teaching you how to play fantasy sports like a shark, by showing you where the best leverage spots are to put you in the best spots to take down tourneys. Also included is our private Discord chat where you get to talk over the slate with everyone, including our coaches, to help build your lineups. Now let's go ahead and dive right into this NBA 10-game slate. Let's go ahead over all the injury reports first and see what we're looking at. By the way, guys, we have early ownership projections about the slate. So if you guys want to sit tight, look at the ownership projections. We usually don't get them until about 11 o'clock, but we got them actually at 9:30 this morning. So I'm able to give you guys a rough overview about what the public thinks about the slate. So let's start with Philly and Detroit. We have Poirier and Mike Scott out. We have Killian Hayes and Derrick Rose out for Detroit. For Toronto, we actually have Siakam and Lowry that are questionable right now. We will have to pay attention to the Toronto Raptors if that is the case, if they are held out. With Indiana, nothing really going on. Charlotte, nothing. Orlando, we have Gordon, Michael Carter-Williams, and Amino all questionable before game time. And then with Miami, these are the guys we're going to hone in on here for this breakdown because we have a ton of injuries here. Bradley, Butler, Mark Harkless, Hero, Leonard, and Silva all out for these guys. So definitely a lot of value for these Miami Heat guys. With Brooklyn, we have Dinwiddie and Claxton still out. With the Lakers, we still have Dudley out. With Cleveland, we have obviously Love and Dellavedova out. For Dallas, we have their normal injuries. San Antonio, same thing with Derek White. Boston going down, we still have Pritchard and Walker out, so that we'll give a bump to a couple guys on their team. We'll take a look at them here in a little bit. With Minnesota, we have D'Angelo Russell still questionable. If he is held out, that will definitely shake things up for the Timberwolves against Golden State Warriors. And then last but not least, with OKC, we have Jerome, Ariza, and then our normal injuries with Portland. McCollum and Nurkic are still out, so that definitely impacts them as well. Now switching over to the main slate here, let's take a look at Philly. All of these guys are going to be GPP options. Like I said, Joel Embiid is questionable, $9,700. If he is held out, it's going to give a huge, massive usage boost to guys like Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, and Seth Curry. But again, these guys are all GPP options right now because we don't know the injury status on Joel Embiid. Switching over to Detroit, Derrick Rose is out. Delon Wright is actually pretty chalky right now, only averaging 0.89 fantasy points per minute. He's projected at 32 minutes. A $5,500 price tag. Don't have him as a crazy value. I just think he's an okay play. Not that in love with him. He could end up being bad chalk, and again, I don't think he will be chalk, closer to lock, but the 5.2 point per dollar value, still not a bad play overall. Josh Jackson projected at 23 minutes, 17.5% ownership, and then Jeremy Grant has been killing, averaging 1.21 fantasy points per minute to start the season. $7,800 is actually my favorite option from this team at a 5.4 point per dollar value. Switching over to the Toronto Raptors, don't want to touch these guys, don't even want to talk about them until we hear more injury news on Kyle Lowry or Siakam. They're both questionable, and both these guys play at 7 o'clock, so we should know this injury news before lock. We will be breaking this down on the pre-lock live show. Switching over to Indiana, not too much to be said here. More GPP options. Again, Justin Holiday, $4,700, playing in 33 minutes. Miles Turner projected to play 34 minutes, a 5 point per dollar value. All these guys are going to be GPP options because this is a pace down spot and a good matchup, or sorry, a bad matchup versus Toronto because we know that they have a good defense. Switching over to Charlotte, not too much to be said here. All GPP options as well. Starting at the top, Gordon Hayward is actually carrying the most ownership, a 5.1 point per dollar value, $7,300. If you want to take a stab at him, don't mind it. $7,300 just passes the eye test. Is pretty cheap and affordable to get to him. Miles Bridges next on the list here, $4,000, 3.4% owned, 24 minutes, 5.2 point per dollar value. All GPP plays across the board. This is also a pace down spot for both these teams. With Orlando, Vucevic, 23.7% owned. Has been carrying a lot of ownership as of late, and with all these guys pending injury news and potentially Michael Carter-Williams. Both Isaac and Aminu out for these guys. With the addition of Aaron Gordon to the injury report, this can only help Vucevic. Like I said, right now he's 23.7% owned and a very easy price tag. Actually has a very good matchup here versus Charlotte Bigs. Always a good team to target when you're talking about big men. Aaron Gordon, like I said, questionable, $7,600. If he is held out, that's going to give a boost to some of these other guys, and we will revisit these guys a little bit later on in the day. Switching over to Miami. Miami has a ton of injuries, like I said. Harkless, Bradley, Hero, Butler, Silva, Leonard, all out for these guys. Gives good usage boost. We'll take a look actually at the usage chart here. Bam Adebayo carrying the highest usage rate at 28.6%, averaging 1.34 fantasy points per minute. Goran Dragic, 26.6% usage at 1.04 fantasy point per minute player. And then also Kendrick Nunn has been playing very, very well. 22.5% usage and averaging 1.08 fantasy points per minute. These top three guys are pretty much the only guys that I'm interested in here from the Miami Heat. Goran Dragic, $6,200. Kendrick Nunn's the cheapest here at $6,100. And then Adebayo at $8,500. Also a pretty good play. Keep in mind, this is a pace-up spot for all these guys, so I think they are in very good spots, and they have very high ceilings. Kendrick Nunn, like I've been saying, is in the best spot. A 6.2 point per dollar value, rates very well on their sheet, and is also very low owned, at least at 11.6%. I think that will creep up as soon as we get some of these other injury news here throughout the slate, but he's a very obvious play, 11.6% owned, and more of a GPP option, but I do like Dragic, Bam Adebayo, and also Nunn from this team. Switching over to the Brooklyn Nets, always take one of these guys. If you're playing a big GPP, one of these guys will have a ceiling game every single time. This is the highest over-under on the slate at a 235. So take a stab. Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant, all priced pretty close. With Kyrie Irving being the cheapest of all of them and also hitting value in pretty much every single game that he's played with Kevin Durant and James Harden. I think he's one of the more obvious plays on this team. James Harden, 10.2K, don't hate him, and same thing with Kevin Durant. Everybody else kind of falls by the wayside with these threes for obvious reasons. Don't have any love for anybody else outside of bigger GPPs. Switching over to the Lakers versus Cleveland, just no, not too much here. LeBron James and Anthony Davis are both very, very cheap, so I do like them for GPPs. This is a pace down spot, and the Lakers are 10-point favorites, so this does have some blowout potential. If they do blow out Cleveland, we don't expect LeBron or AD to play the full minutes. They've been resting them down the stretch and games that do blow out, so I'm kind of hesitant on both these guys' ceiling. With that being said, if it does stay close, I absolutely love them, so only in big GPPs, I would play LeBron James or Anthony Davis. Everybody else, not really intriguing unless you're talking about bigger GPPs. Switching over to Cleveland, all these guys are carrying sub 1% owned, and I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that will adjust the closer that we get to lock, but all these price tags are just crazy. With the addition of guys like Jarrett Allen and some of these other bench players, there's just so much usage to go around, and all these price tags have not come back down to earth. Like, we're talking about Jarrett Allen at $5,900. Andre Drummond, who's been playing less minutes, 26, 27, and 18 minutes, as we've seen the past 3 games. So just really off of these guys until the prices adjust. But it's funny because I used to love Cleveland on the very tight rotations, and now I'm not in love with them at all whatsoever. Switching over to Denver, Jokic, the best player in the league right now, 10.8K, 10.3%. Like him for GPPs against Dallas. This is an average spot for them going against Dallas. Gary Harris, $3,900, a 5.3 point per dollar value. Jamal Murray, also never a bad GPP option, $7,100, a 5.2 point per dollar value. I think he passes the eye test. I think that's very, very cheap, playing in 35 minutes. This is supposed to be relatively competitive. Denver's only a 1-point favor, and this is a decent over-under, a 222.5. So if you want to target either Jamal Murray or Jokic for bigger GPPs, Jokic has a very good matchup, and same thing with Jamal Murray. Switching over to Dallas, these same injuries are still out for Dallas. Josh Richardson, Kleber, Powell, and Finney Smith are all out. So that gives a bump to guys like Doncic, Porzingis. We're assuming that Porzingis does play. $8,200. I do like him for GPP. Doncic is relatively cheap at 10.7K. Love the usage boost that he gets. I think he'll be pretty obvious as a pay up spot. 10.8%. So definitely more of a GPP option, at least right now. And then Jalen Brunson at $4,700. Projected to play 31 minutes. Has been playing really, really well in the starting lineup as of late. 34, 31, and 33 minutes. Has hit value almost all of those times with the exception of the last game, and just fell short of that. So I do like him. I think he's a pretty safe bet, and him at 12.8% owned, I think he's more of a GPP play, but he's also a last spot for cash. Definitely like him for value, especially if he's playing starter minutes at over 33 minutes per game. Switching over to Boston, like I said, Jason Tatum, Pritchard and Langford are out, and right now Kemba Walker is expected to sit, so that gives a massive boost to a guy like Jeff Teague, coming off a game where he obviously didn't play well at all, only scoring 0.5 points, but he should be playing closer to 25 to 30 minutes in this matchup. Going to be pretty chalky. If we take a look at ownership right now, he's showing 19.9% owned, so that's on that cusp of a GPP/cash option, but at $3,700, he's going to be very, very chalky. 5.7 point per dollar value. Jaylen Brown is the next up in line. $8,500 should be a very safe choice. Keep in mind these guys are playing in a pace-up spot, a 228.5 over-under, so all of these guys are in smash spots. Definitely like Jeff Teague and Jaylen Brown as my favorite options. I think they are both cash viable. Jaylen Brown averaging 1.38 fantasy points per minute with all these guys off the court in a pace-up spot. Definitely love Jaylen Brown. Jeff Teague, Marcus Smart, definitely more of a GPP option. Same thing with Tristan Thompson and also Daniel Tice. Chicago with Markkanen, 16.3% owned, does get a massive usage boost with Wendell Carter Jr. off the court, so I still do like him. However, he's been lackluster as of late, still averaging over 1.2 fantasy points per minute, 16.3% owned. I like him here at the top for GPPs. Going down the line here, Daniel Gafford, if he plays over 20 minutes, I definitely like him. He's got 18 minutes in his past 2 contests, so more GPP there, and a good matchup versus Boston Bigs. Zach LaVine got a massive price decrease, which I do like because he's averaging over 1.41 fantasy points per minute with these guys off the court, with Wendell Carter off the court. $8,600, he should easily cover that price tag, assuming that this game does stay competitive and close. The spread's only 7 points, so if it does stay close, absolutely love Zach LaVine here in a smash spot versus Boston. Switching over, San Antonio Spurs, DeJounte Murray just passes the eye test. Very cheap, $6,500. Don't know what's up with that price tag going against the Pelicans. Got 46 in his last contest, so should easily hit that value. One of the more chalkier options here, 20.3% owned. He's only point guard eligible, so that's the only thing I don't like about him. Definitely a chalky play, even in a pace down spot here versus the Pelicans. Pelicans are favored by 3 points, so this should be competitive, and he should play his full minutes. DeMar DeRozan, also not that bad of an option, $7,700. Don't mind him, but the rest of these guys are going to be GPP options for me. Switching over to the Pelicans, we have Brandon Ingram, $8,000. Did get that price decrease from about $8,500. 10.5% owned. I do like him. Zion creeping up, $7,900. We'll see these price tags be about the same from these two superstars the entire way through the season. Which one do I prefer? It's going to be Brandon Ingram slightly. It does have a better fantasy point per minute output, but only slightly. Zion Williamson still also not a bad option. One of these guys should have a ceiling game every single game, so pick one or the other. This is actually going to be a pace-up spot for both these guys. And Steven Adams, $6,000. Don't mind him for a GPP option, but all these other guys I don't really like. I'm just on those top 3 guys from the New Orleans Pelicans. Switching over to Minnesota, if D'Lo is held out, that's going to switch up this picture all the way through. Jaden McDaniels is going to get a boost in minutes and also a fantasy point per minute boost and also a usage boost, so I don't mind him. Vanderbilt would also not be a bad option here, playing 24 minutes, 11.5% owned, and then Malik Beasley if D'Lo is held out. But again, this is pending against Golden State Warriors. Going to be a pace-up spot, and Golden State is favored by 8 points as of right now. Switching over to Golden State, we have a couple mispricings. We have Draymond Green down here, $5,200, 17.1% owned. I do consider him cash viable. Same thing with Steph. Steph got a massive price decrease here, $9,200 in a pace-up spot. I think they want to price down these guys so that we can see Steph Curry hit that price tag. See him in prime time, 5.4 point per dollar value. Definitely like these guys, especially Kelly Oubre, $5,900, has been hit or miss to start this season. Has come back down to earth as of late, but had a good string of games here at $5,900. Could easily hit that value, hitting over 30 points in all those contests, so don't mind him. But those 3 guys are very much in the picture of cash viable, and I do like them for GPPs as well. I think Steph Curry has a tremendous ceiling today. Last but not least, let's talk about OKC. Since Horford is out, we have to talk about Isaiah Roby, $4,600. Just averages just at 1 fantasy point per minute, so projected at 27 minutes should hit that $27 or should hit 27 point projection. 23.1% owned. He is cash viable right now, carrying 23.1% owned ownership. Diallo, $3,900, projected at 20 minutes, carrying 16.4% ownership, and then Beasley, not that bad of an option as well. But other than that, I'm going to avoid these guys. This is going to be a slight pace-up spot for But switching over to Portland, we have more entries over here with McCollum, Nurkic, and Collins Collins all being out. Damian Lillard gets a massive price increase or usage boost. 10.3K. Don't mind him. Did have a ceiling game last game versus the New York Knicks. Is going to be playing on the back-to-back. Still don't mind him. Canner, $6,600, and also Derrick Jones averaging 0.8 fantasy points per minute. Don't mind him playing in 30 minutes. Definitely has been intriguing as of late. Has hit his value in every single one of his past 3 contests. And that will end my breakdown, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, please do hit that subscription button, notification button, of course, smash that like button for all of our future NBA content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day, and let's cash.